Illini fans rejoice. We finally have some good news to celebrate. Ty Rodgers is going to be coming back to the Illini next season. Locked on Illini, let's go.
You are Locked on Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome one and welcome all to another breaking news edition of Locked on Illini. This time, a positive one. Finally, we get to have a smile on our faces. We get to celebrate together for what's been, let's be honest, a very rough week for Illini fans. Before we get started, my name is Sonny Verma, your host here at Locked on Illini, where I provide you daily coverage. That's right, every single day, about 30 minutes or so of Illini coverage, whether it's football, basketball, all of that. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button. Come on, guys. We got to celebrate today. The vibes are fantastic, immaculate. Make sure you hit that like button just to celebrate together. That's what we're doing. Look at me. I'm fumbling over my own words. So excited. Another thing is I literally just finished recording tomorrow's episode. So I feel like I have to re-record all of tomorrow's episode because I do talk about Ty Rodgers and the possibility of him coming back. Of course, he announces as soon as I'm done recording, a link was shared in the Locked on Illini Discord, link in the description if you're not in there already. And I was like, hey, is this real? Did Ty really come back, or is this just a really awful April Fool's joke? Because I can't stand an April Fool's joke right now. Just a couple hours ago, Illinois fans got news that Morez Johnson Jr. is going to be playing for the Michigan Wolverines next year. And of course, that leaves a bad taste in everybody's mouth. Nobody wants that to see that happen. Play for a rival. If he'd gone the Coleman Hawkins route, play for a team that Illinois is never going to see or play, fine, sure. My feelings might be hurt a little bit, but Morez, go have yourself a career. But he decides to commit to a team that, quite honestly, most Illini fans don't like, a rival. And so there's going to be some animosity with Morez. And, again, the topic of tomorrow's episode is talking about how we've had so many defections and when is Illinois going to get some good news? And that's exactly what they got here late on a Tuesday night. Ty Rodgers, guard / forward, I guess you can call him, has decided that he's coming back to Champaign next season. Now, I'm shocked. Okay, I've talked about this before on the show. I know that Illinois and Brad Underwood were very aggressive in trying to get Ty to come back. But how often is it that a kid decides to redshirt, and he doesn't even tell the coaching staff until the first game of the season? I thought the writing was on the wall that Ty was just not going to be wearing the blue and orange next season. In fact, I was predicting maybe he'd play for a division or conference rival, like the Michigan State Spartans. That was the common thing. But here we are, again, having an awful week. Morez decides to enter the transfer portal. Tre White decides to enter the transfer portal. Who's coming back? Well, Ty Rodgers is coming back. And let me tell you, you want to tune into tomorrow's episode because Ty Rodgers could be the one kicking off the positive vibes in Champaign. He could be the catalyst for some good news that might be coming right around the corner. Not once, not twice, but 3 times over this next week. I'm not predicting it, but I'm saying it could happen. So make sure you tune into tomorrow's episode. But let's just talk about Ty coming back and the role that he fills. It's probably a little too early to decide whether he's an immediate starter or not. I'd assume he is. 2 years ago, he started every single game for a team that went to the Elite Eight. And this year, with Morez gone, we needed a guy who did what Morez does. That's what Ty personifies, essentially. No, he's not as good of a rebounder as Morez. And, I don't think many people in the country are. And that's one of the skills that we're going to miss of Morez's. But Ty does so many other things. And more importantly, Ty Rodgers, in my opinion, exemplifies what we want to imagine an everyday guy looks like. The toughness of a Brad Underwood team. I don't think I'm alone when I say this. I think a lot of us felt like that was missing from last year's team. Uh, I talked about Ty Rodgers a couple weeks ago, thinking that he wasn't a good fit on this basketball team because of the impending return of a Morez and the Tre White, and Ty's inability to shoot. And by the way, I don't think that's exactly going to correct itself, but I think it's okay on this roster that he probably wouldn't have a fit on this role, a role on this team. But now he clearly does, with Morez gone, with Tre White gone. I think Ty fills a huge, massive hole on this basketball team and familiarity. And that's what I'm going to kind of focus on in this episode. We can talk about skill set. You guys know the skill set that Ty Rodgers is going to bring. He's going to bring toughness. He's going to play good defense. He's going to bring physicality. A lot of the traits that this team was missing last year. But as I talked about in an earlier episode, so my everydayers know this. And by the way, again, please hit the like button. Vibes are immaculate here in Illini Nation. And trust me, I think this could kick things off in a positive way for Illini fans. Ty Rodgers brings culture back. And I think a lot of Illini fans, whether it's going to be in the comment section here or on social media, there's a lot of panic settling in with the fact that we're going to have to redo our roster a second offseason in a row, including for me. I knew we did it last year, and I thought there was good reasons to do it last year. But this year, I don't know if I would have been able to stomach it. I know I had to, but it would have been difficult. And I get to the point where I'm starting to question the culture that Brad, maybe some of the Brad haters are correct that, this is just not what's going on, right? I think that's more important. I know it's happening everywhere. And by the way, guys, look at what happened to Michigan State Spartans today. They lost, 3 guys, I believe, to the transfer portal? A lot of the commenters of the show, of the replies, they're always like, hey, why can't Brad do what Purdue does, what Michigan State does? Look, Purdue's lost 2 guys to the transfer portal themselves. Michigan State just lost 3 today. It's happening everywhere, guys. Players are moving. It's a transfer portal. This is just a reality. I know Illinois maybe has it a tad bit more than some of the other teams, but it's just a simple reality of college sports moving forward. Right now, especially before April 7th, before we find out what the rules with the whole revenue system is, it's the wild, wild west. And I will say that, Illinois being able to bring Ty Rodgers back, and I think it kind of cements the leadership and the culture that I think we were missing, that Brad Underwood was missing. And I think that's why Brad was so insistent. Look, these conversations with Ty were happening before Morez decided he wanted to leave, before Tre White decided he wanted to leave. Brad Underwood wanted Ty back. And I was surprised by that. I didn't think that was the case. But Brad saw something. He's talked about Ty Rodgers all season long and how critical of a role that he's played. And I don't even know if Ty Rodgers planned on coming back. I think now he sees that it's funny how the world works, but he sees that there really is a role for what he does on this basketball team. And there's no better person to do it than him. Ty's going to be a junior next year. Let's read off his stats real quick. 2 years ago, he played 38 games, started all 38, as I mentioned, 23 minutes per game, 6 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Again, Ty Rodgers is one of those guys, like Morez, let's be honest. His game wasn't defined by the box score. Ty was just an everyday culture guy. And who knows, after a year of working on his game, which we know he did, he's a tireless worker. I'm very excited to see what he's going to look like next season. But again, more important than that, he's the type of player that Illinois needed. We need more dogs. We need more mean basketball players on this team. Last year's team was just a little too nice. I just got done watching Michigan State win the conference by 3 games this year. I see Houston in the Final Four. I see Auburn. These are the type of mean, nasty teams or players that Illinois doesn't have. And I do think that Ty Rodgers coming into the fold, with hopefully pairing next to a guy like Tommy, I think that's huge for this team. Let's get to your thoughts right after this. See, it's been a while since we've had this chat in a good mood. So Billy says LFG. Absolutely. Justin Verdens gives a smiley face. Billy also says, like the video. Yes, absolutely. Like the video. We have 110 people in here, 20 likes. The math is not mathing. Guys, we're celebrating tonight. I literally finished an entire episode. I got 30 minutes that I probably either have to re-record or just make some edits for tomorrow's episode. But that's fine because we're celebrating. This is we needed this. Illinois fans needed this. Like, we're getting a little sensitive here. It's been a while since we've had anything to celebrate in Champaign. Billy says, heck yes. Philip says, Illini party, the culture, Ty Rodgers is back. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. You know, it's culture that he brings with him. We'll have guys who put up good stats. Trust me, guys, Brad and Orlando, I know a lot of you guys are panicking on that front. I'm being real with you. I know this kind of stinks, having to go through this roster turnover again, but Brad and Orlando, they know what they're doing. And we'll have good, talented players in Champaign next season. Ty Rodgers is not just a good, talented player. He doesn't have to fill up that box score. He brings the culture back. And I'm telling you, I know I keep repeating myself, but that's I think what this team needs more than anything else. Alan asks, how much NIL is he getting? Alan, I didn't even know he was coming back. So I will do some digging. I'll try to find out. But right now I'm just celebrating right now. Today, we're just celebrating. Simeon says, yeah. Jason says, some good news. Let's go. This is what loyalty looks like. Exactly, Jason. You know, shout out to Chester Frazier for not following his boss to Indiana and taking an associate head coach job at Virginia. That exemplifies what loyalty is. And it's nice to see a modern player, a guy like Ty Rodgers, who was so valuable and a fan favorite, show us that even the modern kids can do the same thing. Alan says he's coming back probably because Morez left. Alan, I completely agree with you. Now, I will say, again, Brad wanted Ty back even when he thought he was going to get Morez back. But I think now from Ty's perspective, he sees that the fit makes more sense now. Jason French says, I feel like we need a little bit more than Ty and Big Z. It's cool, but man, we need a bit more. Jason, we have a whole offseason. We have like 5-6 more spots to fill. So don't worry. Again, there's more talent coming. We still need a proper 4. Ty kind of played a hybrid role of a forward and guard 2 seasons ago, I guess we can call it. So I don't know if he's necessarily the 4, but what's good about him is, at 6'6", 200, he can play a small ball 4, which is valuable to this team. Because, right, if Tommy's coming back, if his bigger brother decides to come to Champaign, as is the rumor, you've got 2 twin towers for a twin tower lineup. But how do you balance that line? How do you counter that lineup? If a team goes small on you, well, you have Ty, who kind of plays the position like a power forward if you need him to. So, Ty can be a small ball 4. And again, more importantly, you just want talented people in that locker room. And I think Ty Rodgers coming back it's great news. And it's news that Illinois fans needed. If you think this was a coincidence that Ty Rodgers announces his return just mere hours after Morez announces he's going to Michigan, don't be silly. All right. They wanted to announce this probably immediately afterwards, make this official and, just have Illinois fans, give them something to celebrate. Jason says, just to start, boys and girls. We're just getting started. I truly do believe that, Jason. And again, I'm tuning in tomorrow. I genuinely think that there's a chance that Illinois might be getting up to 3 commitments in the next week. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying there's potential. Philip says, every time I hear good news, the professor from Futurama pops into my head saying good news. Right? That works. Jason says, Morez, I don't care if I liked him or not, but if Michigan plays us at home, everyone get tickets and boo that man, find his dad, and go crazy, folks. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk about Morez right now. I know I brought his name up a couple times already, but Morez is gone. Let's talk Ty. Sean says, Big Z. Yeah, I mean, rumors are out there. That's just a matter of time. Today, he officially entered the transfer portal. I know the rumor started yesterday, but today he actually officially entered the transfer portal. So I'll be honest, I think it's just a matter of a couple of days, and I would be shocked if he does not come back. Brad P says, Ty Rodgers will have the most jersey sales on the team because the fans love loyalty. Brad, that's brilliant. You know what? My challenge is I'll be getting a Brad or a Ty. Well, I'll get a Brad jersey as well. A Ty Rodgers NIL jersey before the season starts. That's how you reward royalty. So if you're in the market for an NIL jersey, for an Illinois jersey next season, reward the guy who exemplifies loyalty, who shows that he truly loves the orange and blue. Jason Prince says, I want to buy a Riley jersey. That'd be nice. I don't know if he's coming back. Sean says, does Ty have an extra year? Ty has 2 seasons. He's played 2 years. He played his freshman year, his sophomore year. He just redshirted. So he's got 2 years left, as Philip said right there. Alan says, did Ty get taller during the year he missed? You know, he doesn't need to get taller. Let's just appreciate Ty for what he did. The taller people are coming, including a 7'2" guy. Okay, don't worry about that. Jason says, got to sign Sarr or Riley. Patience. You know, Riley's going to go through his NBA draft camp as he absolutely should. I'm going to have an episode on him sometime this week. I've seen mock drafts with him in the top 15. I've seen mock drafts with him in the second round. So he's going to have a decision to make. Kasparis, I think the decision is made. Of course, no brainer. Will is interesting. He's someone I'm going to contemplate. Ryan asking, could Will come back? Ryan, just stay tuned this week. I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about it and basically give an argument for both reasons, whether he should come back or he should not. Great. He has had a year of practice on the scout team, so may have really improved. Yeah, because we know Ty is a tireless worker, right? He has flaws. He's not a shooter. And, but you know what? This team, especially with the possibility of getting like Josh Dix, Zvonimir Avicic, they're bringing in shooters. You can't have 12 shooters, though. You need to balance your team. And that's why I think this Ty pickup is so huge. He's bringing in something this team sorely is lacking. That's just toughness. That's grit. That's just physicality and just more mean players. Randy says Ty can lead this team and he's a true Illini. Absolutely. I mean, you're talking about he was already a captain and he wasn't playing. Anyone who was watching Illini game saw he was a cheerleader on the sidelines, celebrating every basket. Now he gets to be the leader in the huddle, along with Tommy. Tommy was growing into that leadership role. Ty, again, this is going to be his, 4th year with Illinois, if you count one of them being redshirted. Like, he will exemplify. He will show other younger players that, hey, this is what it means to be an Illini. That's kind of why we're celebrating. Oh, you're right. Thelonious Monk, you're right. It was Virginia Tech that Chester Frazier went to. My fault. Either way, it's not Indiana. I think that's the point that we're celebrating. TM says, I hope Ty developed a mid-range game this past year. Philip kind of agrees. I'm convinced Ty will be a serviceable 3-point shooter next year. I will be honest, I don't think so at all. I would be shocked. I'd be shocked if he shot 20% from 3-point land next season. But my point is I wouldn't think Morez Johnson would be shooting 3-pointers next year. You're right. Like, you don't need every single guy to be able to shoot those threes. As long as Ty focuses on what he does really, really well, and he does them really, really well, I think that'll be incredibly invaluable for this team. 140 people watching, only 39 likes. Good. Guys, this is the 3rd video today. All right. Please hit that like button if you can. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Jay says, Morez will be booed hard. Oh, if you think Sky Clark was bad, Morez is here. Absolutely. This is amazing news. Welcome back, Ty. You're a great credit to our team and our university. Back, Ty. Thank you. Exactly. This is just one of those, you don't get to celebrate this very often. And this is not just us. Everyone's talking about there's lack of loyalty in the sport now. And the fact that, Ty does decide to come back. Again, are there any previous examples of guys who redshirted for a full season and actually decided to come back? I fully thought this would be a Sincere Harris type of situation where, he redshirts for a year, writings on the wall. He plays for, again, I was worried that he'd play for Michigan State next year. So I'm kind of grateful that that didn't happen. More of your thoughts right after this. Jay says Morez will be booed hard. Absolutely. Amazing news. Welcome back to the orange and blue. Sean says, is Illinois getting Big Z? Sean, I think so. I think it's just a matter of time. I just think the fit makes way too much sense. And again, I hate to say this, I just finished recording tomorrow's episode. I talk about this all day in the episode tomorrow. I'm actually predicting that we can have another commitment very, very soon, and potentially 3. That's right, 3 in a week. Jason says we just got crystal balled for Big Z, so let's not stop there. Need 2 more playmakers, and let's go. Alan says, to be honest, I'm disappointed about Morez, but I wish him well when he's not playing us. Alan, I agree with you, but disappointing. I'm not sure if I wish him well. I'll just leave it at that. It's one of those, Michigan, he knows what he's doing. Jay says, if you're in the second round, you might as well come back. Loyalty isn't dead. You're exactly right. Kenosha says, is there any chance this guy has developed a jumper over all this time? Is there a chance? Of course there's a chance. But again, that's not what I'm going to be focused on. In the same way, I'm not too upset with Morez leaving, because if Morez thought he was a 3-point shooter, if Tre White thought he was a 3-point shooter, just play your role, guys. I think as long as Ty brings back what he does well, I think we'll be okay. Sean says, could the Illini women land Aaliyah Guyton? I've heard us in the final, so I don't know. I haven't dug too deep into that recently, but who knows? This could just be all-around good news for a good week for Illini fans after the last week that we just had. Randy says NBA Draft Board has Riley 28th. Exactly, Randy. And that's what I'm going to talk about later this week. At 28, all of a sudden, Will is going to have a decision to make. Rick Fuston says, loyalty means everything to me. I completely agree. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up. I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with tomorrow's episode. Again, celebrations all around, guys. I think this could kickstart a stretch of really good news for Illini fans. So regardless, I will be here breaking news when I need to, especially if we have a defection, whether it's good news, bad news, whether we celebrate together, whether we have a therapy session together. I'll always be here. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Until next time, ILL. Love you guys.